Wanted to show some of you one of the best things ever. The rose garden. This for years was a place that I came and would sit and contemplate on my days off. I just happened to be in the old neighborhood, so I thought I'd stop by here. And yes, you could totally smell the flowers. They're very, very fragrant right now because there's so many bees. So, good news. Had an interview. Everything actually went really well, but they require being vaxxed to work in the kitchen. So apparently I won't be doing that. But it was a good interview. And it was a good interview. The Rose Society keeps this up. They've been doing a very good job. Competitive growers. They used to have all of these wire trellises draped with flowers, but apparently they decided on a different design, or maybe they were just cutting it back, let them grow bigger. Looks like they were probably cutting it back. Oh, look at that. So coming here was one of the key things that changed my entire way of looking at life. Starting to discover that which is bigger than me. Oh, I've got to sniff this one. Oh yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Now I'd slowly walk through. Pray the rosary. Just stare at the flowers. Smell them. Wait till the die-off came in the fall. So I pretty much caught this for you guys at the height of the season. They're going to die off not long from now. You could already see some of them are starting to yield to the heat, the late summer. Look at that. Let's see. Oh yeah, wow, that smells magnificent. Now, these ones, let's see. I always forget some of these names. I used to remember them, actually. Even got to the point where I could actually now and then like remember what they were called without even looking at the signs. Yeah, let's take a close look at that. Look at that. Magnificent. Oh, look at fellas, nice and busy in there. Let's see about this one. Oh yeah. Oh, that even has kind of a lemon, sweet lemon smell. It's interesting how subtle the differences are between the different kinds. The ones that seem to have more of a harder, more rose-shaped rose kind of way to them They don't have as powerful a smell. But the ones that are like big and fluffy, especially as they get lighter in color, those ones have quite a magnificent smell. Wow, look at the height of these bad boys. Look at that. It's like, that's as tall as me. And then you'll see that some of them, they won't have any breeding low. They just pop up right at the top. Wonder if this one smells. Oh wow, it does. Oh, that's magnificent. See, you just can't stop once you start. It's like some kind of candy. Yeah, that one's definitely more of a lemon-like smell. He even repaved it. This area becomes a bit waterlogged, so it's hard on the pavement here. But, oh yeah, and I've got to show you this tree, the Whomping Willow here. Sparkle and Shine Floribunda. Yeah, you got to see this thing. This thing's magnificent. It'd be a shame when one day it passes on. This is a really old tree. But yeah, it looks like the Whomping Willow. They have had to finally get it set up so that nobody can get near it. Look at that. Yeah, they have to use cables to keep all the branches, heavy limbs now. I know. I mean, how could you keep a kid out of this thing? You know? It's like some fantasy tree. Look at that moss. The Owen cherry tree. See, Oregon has these qualities that, I mean, just you cannot frown on. They're just magnificent. There's things about this place that, I mean, that are absolutely magical. You know, for all the bumps and nicks, Oregon is still really pretty amazing. It's a hard time for Oregon right now. I think I'll stroll on out of here. Seeing you can have people on a bike path. See, they did so much infrastructure that's, I mean, just priceless. I mean, really, you couldn't put a price on some of these works over the rivers. You know, these pieces of infrastructure that, I mean, they're just priceless. Beautiful rivers. These just magnificent parks. I don't think I can't turn this around now. But on my way here, I had to walk through the old neighborhood and under the overpass. This is not this overpass. Everybody now is in the dead center of town. Dead center. You're driving into Eugene. Either you don't see it because you're on the freeway that is the overpass itself, or you pass under the overpass and you get to see just this gigantic homeless camp. Oh, and this smell is terrible. I don't know exactly what this is, but it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. And one of the things is searching through jobs. Now you could clearly see they'll get back to you asking for all kinds of extremely high-skilled jobs. So Oregon is starting to shed its high-skilled working class. One of the things that came up over and over again that I saw, like an endless list of pharmacists and nurses. So, I mean, it's just at a time like this, Oregon should have an overabundant, use and hiring of both pharmacists and nurses. But instead, they're desperately searching for pharmacists and nurses. And then there's all kinds of, like welding work, steel work, but they got to have people who know what they're doing. Got to have people who are trained in it. And oh, there we go. Tents everywhere. Oh, there we go. There's a camp. Yeah, I know. That's a family-sized tent. I want to film all them. That's not cool. It's a hard time right now. It's a hard time right now, and more hard times are coming. It's not going to get any easier. Well, the good thing is, I could tell you, I've got 2 interviews tomorrow, 2 interviews the next day. Hopefully, keeping the fingers crossed, staying hopeful, staying positive. Yeah, I should really wish I could give you guys a good sense of this, how cool this river is. Now, it's not as high as it often can be, but yeah, and you can't really get a good shot of it. There's a place up here that I know I'll be able to get a real good shot of this river. But this is in a park underneath Skinner's Butte. So you saw me on Spencer's Butte. This is the butte that's at the other end of town. You can probably see it up there. Those of you who watch my channel for a while, you'd see me coming like kind of down a hill. Well, that was the hill, and you could see the tree rise. You can see the tree line. And yeah, and so luckily the tree line is maintained. All that's real nice and everything, so the trees are staying real good and healthy. Now this is the spot to see. You could see like slowly, people trickle in, but I gotta tell you, being around the spots where you should see young people spending their income, it ain't happening. I'm sorry. It's I'm feeling pretty wary of how things are going to be for the area. But then you see there's these moments like this. They're just priceless. You just get to sit. Look at that. Look at the churning. That's why they say don't underestimate this river. Don't just go floating around in it thinking that everything will be a-okay and it's not that deep and this and that. Oh no. There's the bottom is rather uneven, so you could get caught on stuff. You can see trees will end up in there, get all kinds of tangled up. I'm really kind of excited about some of these places that I applied to. They're real simple jobs, or nothing too wild and crazy. Oh, so that's what they did. So those are the other camps. These like super micro homes, super mini micros near the public garden. Because the area is having its own troubles with prices of houses rising. Oh, this is kind of cool. So, this is where Saturn would be located if the relative distances. Now, I gotta admit, I have not made it out to there anytime, and it's actually one of those things I should probably do before I end up getting hired at a new place. Have a nice hike time. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. Like, really go way out there on the bike path, film it for you guys. You know, it can't be that shady out there if I do it during daytime. Now, this is where I would sit right there, and I would just sit there and silently rosary watching this, drinking a coffee, minding my business. Often on the day off. This is when I was getting into, especially Stefan Molyneux, looking into see these are two people that they know what they're doing. I know it might seem otherwise, but you could tell. Water shoes, they got their little blow up. They know the river. They know it well enough to know like what to do and what not to do. You start getting a sense of that after a while. Folks who understand how not to drown. But yeah, that's the present. Unfortunately, for a while, until there's a drop in house prices, dropping rent that the wages of the area start catching up with rents and other expenses. But also, there's a lot of people from a past generation now who they can't really keep up with the pace of change, you know, and they probably didn't think it was going to be like this giant pace of change. You know, they got to see, you know, Microsoft Word and AOL and Google startup and all that kind of stuff, and so they probably didn't figure, you know, wow, okay, people are really, oh, that's funny, that's really funny. See, every once in a while there's this thing about this area that you'll be like, that somebody graffitied it, they put hats on the thing, you know. Some people just kick it over, you know, keep dogs on a short leash, you know, they just kick that over. But then there's other ones that are kind of funny, you know, where put a little hat on all the characters. Yeah, they had to do something about encamping people because of this playground. It started to get kind of bad. There was a period of time where once the homelessness started to ramp up, I was down here like doing my super early morning kind of walk with the coffee and stuff, and there was like somebody just getting all nutty cucamongus over by here. Nobody was here yet, but you know, it just made me think about that. Now, apparently they did something to this bike path recently, changed it in some manner. And I guess I'll find out. Probably some of you remember from that one time I kind of got lost because they had altered the bike path in some way. And I was like, wait, what's going on here? Where do I go? But yeah, taking a nice long walk home. Indulged myself, had a fat burger. It was yeah, had a little bit of indulgence. I don't eat out much. Want to save every dime. Minimalism. Okay, well, yeah, that's pretty much what I got. I was thinking about one of the things that some of you might be interested in taking a look at if you're on the Discord. You want to look in the economics channel. There was a guy from LaoY86 who he actually did a really good thing on like the idea of like China being the next country to take over, because remember, he's the guy who had lived there and was one of those Westerners who eventually got visaed out, and he really pointed out, like, none of the numbers we're getting out of China are reliable. Then he started to get into what do we know are some of the national policies that have been instituted that show that China's starting to lock down its entire system, and that it has something to do with now China having to make sure the integrity of the party maintains, because it's not about the Chinese people, it's about the maintenance of the party, and the party is all that matters. Party now, party forever. And so he really mapped out how China can't be an empire. It doesn't want to be. It doesn't want in any way, shape, or form to really be in charge of other places in the world and have to oversee their problems, have to interdict in their problems, sort out their issues when that hasn't been them since really the Tang Dynasty. Like, people who know something about the history of Kenpo, about the history of Silat, in karate, that everything kind of goes back to this sort of magic era of the Tang Dynasty, and it was because that was when they had kind of an outward reaching, but not even that far. It was that they traded with mostly Southeast Asia, so that's why you end up with Ming vases in the, I think, post-Ptolemy or Ptolemaic era of Egypt. And but since then, China has sort of looked more inward, and it's because of how large it is, and really how important it is that they have their own issues with their own internal groups, their own long history of their interrelations between their groups. And one of the recent, even one of the things he brought up in his talk about the idea of China as a future empire that could never happen is that he actually gets into the Manzhou people, and how the Manzhou, that was either him or it was on TFI Global, that the Manzhou people being of that region, what we think of Manchukuo or Manzhou, land of the Manzhou country, Manzhou state, Manzhou kingdom, I guess, is Guo, but I mean state, country. Like we're Meiguo, beautiful land, Meiguoren, and so American Meiguoren. So he's getting into how now one of the key issues with, like, say, the Manzhou and is that now they have to figure out what to do about groups that aren't Han, and so the concept of sort of a buckling down on the non-Han people is starting to become a reality. What to do about the people who are not Han, and with the idea of there being really sort of this that what is communist China is Han and no other group, no Tibetans, no Xinjiang, no Uyghur, no Hmong, no Hui, no, it's one group, and that now they're instituting everything because there's too much. They spread when you have real commerce in any way, shape, or form, this is actually the of course the one of the things I had always thought about people who want something centralized, something more socialist in America. They were lied to about what America once was like, when America had a wild and crazy and free market, when there was really no regulation at all. That's when you would have very normal people become, like, it become so powerful that, I mean, we eventually associated their name with inventions. We associated their name with whole industries. Hilton was once just one guy with one hotel, and if I remember right, he ended up even going bankrupt, and then came back up. Did it again, and eventually created the Hiltons, the Hilton Inn and Hilton Empire, to the point where now, that they not only are they kind of a hotel company, but they even ended up in the realm of creating quads. So it's like student quads now. If you look at what their company is, that actually they're actually underneath the Hilton banner. People just don't even realize, somebody like Colt, that was just that started small once, that once everything was, that was what was the Wild West of markets, where people would end up, there was nobody to hold them back from, and people also, they rose and they fell. Their fortunes rose and their fortunes fell. And now we have more centralized governance over the economy than at any other time. And the money is just going slowly from the pockets of people who have some kind of salary between typically about $30,000 to about $70,000, just short of really getting rich. And it's being siphoned off bit by bit. And then the people who are just short of that, like, $500,000 mark, they're really the ones that the whole system is now reliant upon them, their investments, their taxable assets, such as property, and it's just simply without an understanding of how things once were here. Like, one of the things that got me is the people I grew up with. Some of these people that I grew up with arrived on boats a generation before, and they own multiple houses by now. They have multiple kids, generations, and they work their asses to the bone, and now they're like, they have holdings, but they arrived on a boat and literally smuggled. Some of them, I remember one guy once telling us in class that his parents smuggled themselves here, and within 2 generations, most people in San Francisco would have called them rich, because they owned a house in the Sunset, without them really understanding that they're still paying off family members, because it was internal family loans. That is how they made it. They smuggled themselves on a boat right before I was probably born. So I just think about, see, we could build community centers, but community centers and homeless camps. So this was the area that they actually redid, and it did a great job. But did a great job. See, I can't be that mad, I can't. It's only so, you see. Yeah, let me give you an idea. See, I am here. So like, all of this, I know I've seen this before, like kind of this area, but not really. Really, this is the kind of thing, like, I should actually try to make it out there to get a sense of that area, because it'd be really worthwhile to do that before I don't have really time to do something so leisurely and nice slow walking. Okay, well, at the 30-minute walk, 30 minute, so I don't like keeping you guys too long with me just rambling like that. All right, take care, everybody. I'll see you tonight at the nightly reading. Keep me in your prayers. You know, keep poor people and desperate people in your prayers, because they need it. It's a rough time. It's a rough time for a lot of people. And be good to yourselves, be good to others, because you never know when you're going to see somebody again. You're going to, like that idea of saying hello to a familiar face. All right.